All right. So before I get into planning for your 4-year degree, I'm going to get on a soapbox. Because when I was going over my materials for the presentation, I just sent my youngest daughter to college. So she is in New York right now. And she is studying baking and catering and hospitality management. And before that, she worked for 1.5 years in food service. She worked at Lincoln here in Lincoln. And when she announced that she's going for her 4-year degree, her manager, the other servers were all like, how did you do this? You can learn what you need to learn through the industry. Why would you get a 4-year bachelor's degree? You have to meet my daughter. She's a little fuzzy. And she's like, because Michael, I'm going to come back in 4 years and be doing that. And we were all like, you need letters of references from her. You shouldn't be saying that. What are you thinking? However, coming out of the pandemic, there's a lot of research that actually supports this thing. So I wanted to share this. You're wondering, why did I get a 4-year degree? So coming out of 2021, the National Bureau of Economic Research, which comprised scholars from Harvard and the University of Michigan, put together research that was focused on skilled individuals with an associate's degree or no degree versus a bachelor's degree. So what is the opportunity gap that exists? Basically, they found that the opportunity gap totally affects your movement and the benefits of upward mobility. So here's how to put that in terms. Workers with a bachelor's degree have dramatically better access to higher wage occupations. So they said skilled workers, it is only at age 55 that they already have 30 years of labor experience if they will earn as much of their peers who have a college degree at 20. So think about that. You're a skilled worker. You have to work 30 years in the industry before you are making the same as a 25-year-old with a bachelor's. Yeah. Who wants to work 30 years? And that's if you stay in the same field. So that's if you're an accountant or a welder and you've got those skills, you work 30 years. But if you go and get a bachelor's degree, you can start moving the mobility of your income. So it's financially, this article is coming from Forbes from 2021. The article has been published. So don't take a look. That's why
this 4-year degree and my daughter's moxie to say why you should get a 4-year degree matters. It's going to totally impact where you are going in the future. And so she was right. The money she's investing in her 4-year degree, her manager is 60 years old. She could come out in her 20s and be doing what she was doing as a 42-year-old. So what is a 4-year degree? Is a bachelor's degree. Now, I was a first-generation college student when I went to get my bachelor's. I went all through college, went there 4 years. I walked during the ceremony to open my diploma up and see that it said nothing about being a major in international affairs. It said the Bachelor of Arts. That is the actual degree you are pursuing when you go to college. Majors and academic programs are how you get to the degree. So you are pursuing a Bachelor of something. And that degree is going to change depending on what you're pursuing. So a Bachelor of Arts in the humanities or the social sciences, a Bachelor of Science in engineering, a Bachelor of Science in Management, which is going
into business, even a Bachelor of Science of Journalism, if you're pursuing a journalism degree. That's what the degree is you're actually pursuing. We'll get into the majors and minors of what gets you to that degree. So there's a lot of different degrees. In the college I work in, you can get a Bachelor of Science if you complete a degree that has over 66 hours of natural and mathematical sciences. So, do that science, you can do a Bachelor of Arts. And that means the majority of your courses will come from social sciences and the humanities. So that's the degree we're actually going for, is a 4-year bachelor's degree. And it'll be different depending on which college you are in and what program of study that you are actually pursuing. I didn't know that when I went to college. So I was a little stunned when I opened that diploma. That's not what I was expecting to see. And I still have a lot of students who are a little surprised when they go in to see that. Oops. So what comprises a 4-year degree? It's going to be slightly different at every single institution, but for the most part, you're going to have general education requirements and then college-specific requirements. So using UNL as the example, we all follow a program called ACE, which is our general education program. But depending on the college you are in, that will determine your college level requirements. But here's a biggie. When you come to UNL, the admissions requirements say that you have to have 2 years of foreign language. Well, our ACE requirements are the same across the board. Everyone does general education, but the college requirements are different. So the College of Arts and Sciences, the College of Journalism and Mass Communication, and the College of Fine and Performing Arts, we all require additional foreign language for students to graduate with our degrees. That's a college level requirement. And it's going to be indicative to the information that that college views as important. College of Business has a very strong foundational education that comprises accounting, math, writing, economics. Then you get into your major. Then your major is that very niche area that you really want to learn more about. And typically, that's going to be your main area of concentration. That's where probably a third to half of your credit hours and your study time will come from. Here at UNL, we strongly believe in minors. And that's going to be a smaller area of concentration. It's going to be about 18 hours. Not all institutions are into minors. There are some of our Big Ten partners that are like, why does UNL graduate so many people with minors? It's something that's part of our culture. Not every institution does that as much. They'd be like, why don't you do 2 majors? Why would you ever do just these minors? That's something that's going to depend upon the institution you go to, how they develop their majors and their minors. So those are the components, though, of a 4-year degree. A lot of people, want to know why the general education, why the college-specific requirements. And here at UNL, we based that off of career outcomes. We kind of asked the people who are hiring our graduates and said, what do you think all students should have competencies in when they come to work for you? And across the board, if they saw a bachelor's degree, you should be able to write effectively. You should be able to speak very eloquently, communicate through speech. You should have some background in mathematics. You should have some background in the humanities. You should have been exposed to art and diverse issues and populations of people. So a lot of times people wonder why? Why do we have to study those things? Because those are the expectations for a well-learned person.
And that's why you would choose a bachelor's degree over maybe a more skilled technical degree. So I was kind of talking about credit hours a little bit. And this is something that's a little confusing, and this will differ from institution to institution. But when you credit hour, it is referring to the number of hours of instruction you have received in the classroom per week. So this can vary from institution to institution as well. So our degrees here at UNL, you're going to see the accumulation be that you have to have 120 credit hours, or say 130 hours on the engineering side to get that bachelor's degree. That's over hopefully a 4-year period, because it's the number of hours you have studied in the classroom. Classes can be different credit hours. So classes can range from a 3 credit hour course, which is fairly common. You'll have 3 hours of instruction per week, up to 6 credit hours for a lab class or a science class. So credit hours vary per class, but it's still indicative of the amount of instruction that you are in the classroom. So for those who are completing an associate's degree before you come to us, you're completing about 60 credit hours in that program, which would be about half of your degree. And that's why people do those 2+2. Yeah, Devon. Correct. So at that associate, you're probably doing a lot of your general education requirements and the requirements that are going to feed into the college requirements. And you're coming to us for that upper level, for 60 hours that are needed in that major. Correct. So it'll take 2 if you transfer in right now. Exactly. That's why you'll see those 2+2. Now that's just your very why. With your credit hours at the associate's level, you can't go willy-nilly and just take your random thing. It does take planning to ensure that the 60 hours you are taking are going to match the program you have to do. Yes, you want to make sure that they're transferred. I've seen students who are like, well, my nephew is at Southeast Community College. I don't know what he wants to do on that. So we're having a difficult time being deliberate with those 60 hours to his associate, because he doesn't know where they're going. So it's going to be difficult to guarantee him that all 60 hours is. You know, you're contemplating what you're doing or what you're kind of doing. Either one of you. Somebody, yeah. No, we can definitely do a plan before you get here, because we are willing to work with you while you are at Northeast Community College or wherever before you even get here.
Before finance, there's something on the UNL website that I agree talking about and how you.
Yep. All of that, you can go out to the admissions office website, and off to the right, it says, like, who are you? What's your population? And you put transfer students. We consider you transferring to us eventually. And you can go in for any Nebraska, Iowa, South Dakota institution and see exactly what you're taking and how it'll count as you. So there's no, you don't have to guess. Sometimes, depending on the quarter system to credit hours and things, those things can be a little bit different where they don't transfer exactly. So that is possible, but the website is looked at and managed by a transfer coordinator. So it is accurate. So you can plan by it. Definitely. So yeah, those credit hours, our goal is not to make you take more hours, but we have to ensure you're taking the right hours to get the degree you want. So that's why it's really important just to understand how that works. So also academic standing. That's something even our current students still kind of struggle with a little bit, is what does academic standing even mean? You know, they call me a freshman, they call me a sophomore, or am I a junior? You know, so there's two different things at work when we talk about academic standing. First, you've got the year that you are actually in school. My daughter's in her first year, her first semester, she is a freshman. She's a first year freshman. But sometimes you bring credits in, and we're going to count those credits towards your academic standing. So if you bring in those 60 credit hours from another institution, you are coming in and you will be at junior standing at UNL. Now, why does that matter? Well, for us, it matters for financial aid. The government cares what your standing is. How long have you been taking classes? So that's why we have to be deliberate with the credit hours we take, because we don't want them not counting for something. When we go to enroll for classes, we start with our seniors. Our seniors get to register for classes first, then our juniors, because their classes are very specific. Then the juniors, then the sophomores, then the freshmen, because they have more opportunities they can choose. So as transfers, you also need very specific classes. You don't need to take 100 level classes anymore. So class standing does matter, and it's important for students to keep track of their class standing. Where am I? How does that impact my financial aid? How does that impact when I'm going to get to enroll for class? And am I taking classes that aren't counting? So even though it says I'm a junior, I actually have 2.5 years left of actual classes left. So it's important to know where you are in that system and what your actual academic standing is. Ron, were you going to ask something?
And basically what you do, and so we can start to I was trying to after I take that.
Trying to work it out. It's a 4-year degree, but we're using what you brought in. So you've already completed 2. We're giving you credit for those 2 years towards the 4 years. We're giving you credit. We're giving you credit for what you did before you got to us. We're going to use as much of those credits before you get here to help you. We're giving you credit for what you've already taken in your first 2 years of college. You've done 2 years, right? You've done 2 years somewhere. You're bringing them with you, so you're already at a junior. We're giving you credit for what you've already done. So you'll start at UNL as a junior.
I never knew because I thought you have to do 2 years
We don't want that to happen. That is not our goal for anybody.
That's what I got before.
That is not our goal for anybody. But the more you know when you're signing up for those associate classes and how they might count, the better that plan works. Have I seen students who've done 2 years and still have to go 3 years? Yes, I have seen that. That does happen.
You can't translate that. Like once you get to the bachelor's degree, when you start on the master's degree, you have to start all over on master's degree.
Master is typically only 2 years.
So it takes 6 weeks.
And that's why for us, it is extremely important that you work with academic advisors, because every once in a while I have some all by themselves. And let's face it, I was a first generation student. When I went to college, I wasn't used to asking for help. My dad worked as a custodian in the post office. And if I asked him for help, he's just like, oh, good luck, girl. For help. Because I didn't know what I didn't know, I needed to network. I needed to rely on my advisors because have I seen people take classes that don't count? Yes. And if you're not taking things that count, that means when you get here, we're still going to make the hits the things that we need. We're not going to waive those. And so that's why some people still here go 5 years. So a 4-year degree takes them 5 years or 6 years if things don't go well because they weren't taking the classes in the right place. Or like my nephew, didn't know what he wants to do with those 2 years from his associate. And I'm afraid that once he figures it out, he can't use all of those 60 hours he's going to take. So that's why there's a little bit of pressure to kind of figure out what it is you want to learn. But when you do come, you will be a junior if you're doing the transfer program. Now, not everyone does that.
You graduate with central high school, like the kind of bachelor's would be good. Like the kind of bachelor's degree would be good.
On to a master's degree. Sometimes it doesn't make any difference what your bachelor's degree is. Same thing in employment. This article that I was quoting you said that they found no benefit to specific bachelor's degree. That employers are just looking for way back. They don't care if it now engineering can be the outlier. If you want to be an engineer, you got to do it. But for most of us who maybe want to work in, human resources, who want to work with child programs, at-risk youth, who want to go and work and be a communications director for a company, our degree does not matter as much as the skills we have accumulated.
Yeah, specializations in accountancy, finance, management, marketing, sales, and finance. So this is what the bachelor class can vary.
Yeah, it can vary. So, like, if you want to get a master's of business administration, UNL is the top MBA in the nation. You feel like you're undergraduate. You don't have to have a business degree because sometimes you don't figure that out totally. I got my master's degree 20 years after my bachelor's degree. It didn't come immediately, and I'm very happy about it. I studied what I wanted and what helped me in a life as a creative. And some people know that yet. But for a PhD, if you want to go in finance, most likely you're coming out with a bachelor's degree in finance, going on into a master's. Most PhD programs will start with doing a master's first, and then you go for a PhD. So it depends. It's kind of the answer for going on to a PhD. It depends. I have students who graduate in communication studies, and they're going on to do a counseling master's. This would be primarily in psychology. They might have to pick up a course. So it's different. Okay, so a little bit of one of the things you're going to start hearing a lot more is experiential learning. The University of Nebraska-Lincoln has actually made experiential learning mandatory for all of our degrees. To get a bachelor's degree from UNL, no matter what your degree is in, you will complete an experiential learning experience. Now, what does that mean? That means we're getting you out of the classroom and we're putting you into research. We're putting you into an educational lodge. We're doing an internship that's going to have educational outcomes, contracts about what we learned. Engineering does what are called cooperatives.
But you're gonna do some type of hands-on, real-life experience to complete your degree. You're gonna take what you learned in the classroom, now you're gonna take it into an area where you're gonna touch it, feel it, live it. And all students at the University of Nebraska-Lincoln will be required. Our Big 10 institutions, our fellow partners have been doing a while. And it's something that many of our majors have started to do even before the university is required. So experiential learning. Now, what does this mean for you? When we go back to that Forbes article, where they were talking about people coming out with that bachelor's degree, we're also giving you people experience. Whether it's research, I have students who are doing research with faculty all the time. Some of that research happens right over here in East Stadium. East Stadium on that bottom floor on those arches on the south side, there is an MRI machine and there is an EEG machine that our faculty in political science and communication studies and psychology are using for research. And they are hiring students to learn how to use that equipment to apply and use an EEG to map the brain that you are in for a research study. There's people experience. Could you imagine being out of your degree? Many of us in the world. And knowing how an MRI or EEG works as a 22-year-old.
Oh, brainwaves, your own brainwaves.
Some of them have mapped their own, but other people have administered. You know.
No, like I think how
You kind of see, yeah, compared to a 50-year-old, you know, who's answering the same stuff. So experiential learning is something you are going to do as part of a bachelor's degree. Even at our sister schools, UNO, UNK, even though it might not be a requirement for graduation, everyone recognizes the importance of experiential learning, and they are providing opportunities to get you out. Those opportunities are different, depending on what you're studying and what you want to learn. Getting out and seeing how what you're learning in class can actually be implemented or applied. Yeah, some of those are field studies. Yeah, definitely.
You know, you might come down here, I mean, it's really better on this artist program, where it's still like somebody in the
It's important. This also helps you know if you're in the right area of study. You know, by getting out there and experiencing it. I had a student who, in my early years of pre-health advisor, she was pre-physical therapy. She was pre-physical therapy. We made her go out and shadow for a semester, and she came back, and she's like, do you know how much they touch people? You can't touch people that. She changed her course of study, not doing pre-PT. Are these my teachers? Is this what I want to do with my life? So with experiential learning, yeah. Do I want to be with these people day in and day out? So I love this aspect, but it's not the same for everybody. Everybody can do something different for experiential learning. I am an academic advisor. You have academic advisors. You need to use that. We are here to guide you through your academic experience. That is what we do. I've had students who are like, I am so sorry I took so much of your time. I'm like, this is what I do. My time is yours.
so you are coming maybe really like, yeah.
You know, that's a great question. You know, when I got started at the university, I didn't know all these things. I was studying international affairs because I was going to go work for the people to people organization like that. And then all of a sudden I found out that there were people on our campus who were leading students on study abroad, who were helping students transition to coming back from their study abroad. I was like, I didn't do that here. And they did, they hired me right out of my undergrad. There is a student of their master's degree here at UNL that does actually train people who work student affairs here at the university. You can do it without a master's degree. You can have any degree and become an academic advisor. What are they looking for? They're looking for skills in communication. They're going to look for your undergrad opportunities, that experiential learning. Maybe you're a tour guide on campus through the visitor center, and you were used to conveying messages and working with students to get them the content and talking about the mission.
That's how I always love to see guys and help you.
Yeah. There are so many ways to do that. And we would work with you to say, how do you do that? Do you want to help people in a health setting? I didn't. I can tell you, I don't have the emotional capacity to work with people in social work or in counseling. But I enjoy talking with people. And I love the university setting. I haven't left here in over 30 years. I've been on this campus for over 30 years. So there are ways, and that's how we guide people. Do you want to help people in health? Maybe you want to be a counselor. Do you want to help little people or big people? Exactly. But I love the academics. So I get to know my students, to help them maneuver their degree, and to see what that when they start, like when they're school, and when they graduate, over 21, 22. I've got a 27-year-old who's graduating, and I've got someone in their second degree in political science who's back at 55, because they are exactly what this article talks about. They don't have their bachelor's degree, and they work for the state, and they cannot get promoted until next year. So we work with students of all ages, but we're going to look on social, but we're also going to. We are here to guide you, and there are tons of people on this campus. I know, some of my colleagues on campus about using the resources we have to help maneuver this 4-year degree. Because believe it or not, the university does not want to keep you here any longer than we have to. We want you to graduate in 20 credit hours and no more. So we're going to help you do that efficiently. We're going to help you make sure you're taking the classes that best suit your needs and your goals. So people that are in your sphere, and work with your network. Do not be afraid to ask us for guidance and help. Yeah. Yeah. That is our goal for all of you. What additional questions can I just answer for you regarding the university or the next step of going to that?
I was just like, because during my first year, first semester, I met 2 people. But I know, social work is really something about. Like, when you say I had 2 people, I'm going to have to say it. Because I really don't want to connect down and you know,
you can work with us. So as for these community college students, you can still work with us. We have a policy that's in place no matter what Nebraska institution, that the date you entered your community college, that will be the bulletin you'll follow for your university. So we will advise you. That's a whole other conversation about using the catalog or the bulletin within a college setting. We're going to lock you in
So no matter how long it takes to get here, we're gonna lock you into the rules for the degree that you're gonna pursue here. So when you started, you can start talking to us and we can advise you. So if your question was, I can take this class at Northeast Community College, or I can take this class, which one would count? You can actually email the advisors to the College of Business and they will tell you. Because we don't want you taking anything that won't count for that piece of it. So we will work with you even if you are not here.
You know, American, but actually, really like country, in Australia and MSCC is, yeah.
It is, and I'm not paying your bills. And I know how much, I would review this article, economically, it will repay it. Economically, getting that bachelor's degree will repay you eventually. And so I would really, but I'm not paying this. I'm not having to work, 30 hours to pay that tuition. But there is enough research out there to show you that obtaining that bachelor's degree will repay you in the future. You don't want to have to be 55 years old and finally making the same salary as someone who's 25 with their bachelor's. No one wants to work 30 years to finally reach that point. So yeah, take that into consideration when you're doing your financial planning. It's going to go to itself back. Anything anyone else would like me to touch on? You can. I mean, you can. I am a firm believer in starting where you want to finish. There's transfers. You're going to get new friends. You have to start your transfers again. The sooner you can come to wherever it is you want to get rid of you. It always makes it a little bit easier on the person who you are. Because you've got peer group, that your network. So the sooner you transfer, it's a little bit easier on your well-being. So not the financial, I understand the financial. Yes, but no. Coming out of the pandemic, the teachers of habit, people have kind of become a little bit more introverted. And for our students, struggling a little bit. They got comfortable. So that you have to keep an eye on. I don't want you to give up that goal of the bachelor's degree because you got you network. I've had a few students who contact about transferring. Well, they got that job offer from somebody at Metro, while they were working on their Metro degree. And now when I give that up, it's that transfer. And so we're seeing that too. Post-pandemic, it's a little harder for students. Oh, credit
Credit-wise, of course, it's very easy if you don't have the finish degree.
Oh, yeah. Trying to finish an entire degree, you will end up, you'll probably have it. No one wants to give a degree to someone who hasn't taken their own classes. If sticking past those 60 hours, we're not going to take them. We're not going to put someone else's credit into our degree. People all the time say, well, why can't I do a 3+? Why can't I take 90 hours somewhere else? Because it's not our degree. We want our name on the diploma, but we didn't take our class. That's why we're not going to take more than we did here.
Part of the question also,
Sometimes you see that, one of the hardest areas to transferring in 21 years because you've been with a department, say in Spanish or, German. And then you try to transfer and you don't mess up. Somebody's not able to go on to what should be the next program. That happens in mathematics and we're going from Calc 2 to Calc 3. Not all students who transfer in. The piece of the course we took before, we don't know. It should be, according to the syllabus, 1 should equal 1. But maybe that instructor slows things down because people come in with, really get different understanding and you transfer. And you're not ready to go to Calc 3 and you have to say, you should take Calc 2 over again. And people are like, but I already took it. Yeah, always. You need to continue on. So sometimes that's when transfer is easier. But before you get too deep into it and things like that. Business college, they've got that worked out. They know exactly what they can take them from a community college or a tribal college, and they know where you're going to start. That definitely, arts and sciences, we're going to work with you on that too. They can learn little technical issues to be a little bit.
In the town, when the student has to come to them, they don't know what they want to do.
Yeah.
So it's even hard to find.
It is.
4 years, they're on the team.
That is where my nephew is, right now. I'm trying to help him. If you enjoy doing it, how do you want to help people? And these aren't long-term commitments. I'm talking about what do you want to do for the next 2 to 4 years, not what do you want to do for the rest of your life. Wait, because I've been in 3 different jobs here at the university over my 30 years. Think of more. I'm not where I started. So what do you want to do for the 3 to 4 years? What would be enjoyable? What can help you meet your goals rather than what you want to do? Focusing on anything else. I'm just coming and talk with you. I really appreciate it. Thank you.